Electors and guests, we have tallied the ballots. It is my pleasure to announce that Kamala D. Harris has received 19 electoral votes for president from the great state of Illinois.
The Electoral College meeting in Springfield yesterday, officially voting for Kamala Harris, who got all of Illinois' 19 Electoral College votes. States all across the country yesterday was the day that they went with their electors and they voted for who they wanted to see take the White House. Donald Trump, though, across the country, securing the necessary Electoral College votes to make that happen. So he is set to be inaugurated January 20th after Congress affirms and approves the vote of the Electoral College on January 6th. It is Illinois in Focus Daily. Yesterday, a historic day, no question about it. The Electoral College meeting. Here is some of the highlights of that meeting from yesterday at the state capitol. And let's fire it off. Go.
Voters in Illinois cast their votes for president and vice president of the United States of America. Through those votes, they were also voting for presidential and vice presidential electors. Today, those electors from each of the 50 states and the District of Columbia are meeting to cast their votes for the next president and vice president of the United States of America. Here in Illinois, we are gathering for the 52nd meeting of the Illinois Electoral College, and the electors present today are representing the majority vote of almost 5.6 million Illinoisans who cast their ballot for president and vice president in the November 5th election. As required by federal law, copies of today's certified vote will be sent to the President of the United States Senate, the National Archives, and the Chief Federal Judge of this federal district. My office will also maintain an additional copy of the certification of the vote for public inspection. Today is about preserving our democracy. Today is a special day for every American, regardless of whether you are a Democrat or Republican. Today is what makes this country the greatest nation in the history of the world. It's respect for the democratic process. Thank you. Elector Vera Davis, please come forward and cast your vote.
Good morning. It is my honor and my privilege to represent the people of the 7th Congressional District to cast this historical ballot for a person who has broken barriers for women, and particularly women of color, and also my sister in the sorority, Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated. I cast this vote for Kamala Harris and Vice President Tim Walz.
Because we talk about democracy, we talk about voter participation, we talk about encouraging people to vote, and today is the ultimate step of that. So I'm proud of it. I wish we had even more people paying attention to the whole process. To me, it's exciting, and as I mentioned in my comments, that's why we're the greatest democracy in the history of the world. Electors and guests, we have tallied the ballots. It is my pleasure to announce that Kamala D. Harris has received 19 electoral votes for president from the great state of Illinois.
So yesterday, big day, obviously. It's just the next phase in the presidential election that happened last month, and Illinois playing its role with its 19 Electoral College votes. So, a lot of conversation about the Electoral College. I asked the Secretary of State afterwards to respond to U.S. Senator Dick Durbin from Illinois, filing a constitutional amendment to get rid of the Electoral College. Durbin said in a statement that the 18th century invention is outdated and it disenfranchises millions of voters. He believes that it should be the popular vote that determines who is president of the United States, not the Electoral College that is baked into the U.S. Constitution and would require a constitutional amendment to be passed in the proper process for that to be removed. I don't know if that's going to happen anytime soon. But Secretary of State Alexi Giannoulias says that he's going to uphold the Constitution as long as the Electoral College is there. Here he is from yesterday after the Illinois presidential electors met.
I love Senator Durbin. He is my friend. I will tell you, in my role as Secretary of State, I follow the Constitution, state and federal laws and guidelines. That's very important to me. If you're asking me personally how I feel about the Electoral College, I guess my statement would be I care tremendously about increasing voter turnout and increasing voter participation. What I've heard anecdotally is that if we had a popular vote, you'd have more people participating, more people voting in states where they think that their vote doesn't matter, where they never see a commercial. So, again, on the personal side, I would agree with Senator Durbin. It's probably an antiquated process. As Secretary of State, I'm here to uphold the Constitution and all state laws, and I'm proud of that duty.
So Giannoulias saying that maybe it is antiquated, but it's the law of the land, and as Secretary of State, it's his responsibility to oversee the Electoral College. But I also asked about whether or not the Electoral College should be proportional. Illinois is a winner-take-all state, but if you look at Illinois' map, most of the state's counties went to Trump. The actual congressional district outcome, obviously Democrats would win there, but if you broke it up to where if it was indeed 55-45, then maybe the Electoral College vote from Illinois should reflect that proportional outcome, so that maybe Illinois' votes could be split up. Maybe that would allow for people to see how it could be representational across the country. But again, most states, I think only two, do winner-take-all, Illinois being a winner-take-all state. And the question obviously about, Durbin saying, disenfranchises people having the Electoral College, doesn't winner-take-all also kind of disenfranchise people? Regardless, Secretary of State Alexi Giannoulias says he wants Illinois to be a winner-take-all state.
I believe in the winner-take-all process that we have. And again, I think the bigger question is whether we move to a popular vote or whether we continue with the Electoral College. But again, in my role as Secretary of State, my job is to follow the Constitution and all state and federal laws.
I also chatted with State Representative Maurice West, some Democrat from Rockford. He was a presidential elector, the first time he's been involved in this process, which happens every 4 years with presidential elections.
It was a good experience. It was an honor to be here. I was able to do my part and make sure that the voices of the elected were heard, and that's what we did on today.
And I asked him about Durbin's proposal. He hadn't seen it yet, but I also asked about all of the controversy around the Electoral College, stretching all the way back to the year 2000, and then in 2016, Trump winning the Electoral College, but not the popular votes, and then in 2020, questions about the Electoral College. But this year, Trump not only won the Electoral College, he won the popular vote as well. But does that still impact concerns of those who want to try to get rid of the Electoral College?
The concerns are valid. I will say that. Conversations need to become more aggressive when it comes to this talking point and what needs to happen, especially in light of those numbers, those years that you said. But yeah, there is cause for concern. And
to the idea of proportional Electoral College outcomes in Illinois, going, adverse to being a winner-take-all state, West is on the current House Elections Committee. He possibly could be on the chair of the Elections Committee for the new General Assembly that's going to be seated January 8th. But here he is talking about, he's open to a conversation about changing the state from winner-take-all to proportional.
Some may feel that way, some may not. That's a good conversation to have. If there's colleagues of mine in the 104th General Assembly that wants to raise that conversation, I'm more than willing to have it. But for now, Illinois is a winner-take-all state, and that's where we'll stay.
So the Electoral College doing their thing yesterday. The next phase in the presidential election involves the certification of the Electoral College with the Congress January 6th, and then the inauguration on January 20th. We'll watch all of that. It is Illinois in Focus Daily. Like, subscribe, hit that notification bell, and join us each and every weekday morning, breaking down things to keep you going and keeping you plugged in. It's right here with America's Talking Network. Get the headlines in your inbox with thecentersquare.com, and also get the podcast where you get podcasts. Just search Illinois in Focus.